And we're live, everybody. Hey, what's going on? I think Lyle's still kind of working it on the other show, which is cool. He's got to do what he's got to do and finish up his talk with James and D and Chad. Hello, D, if you're out there, or when you come in, hello. I'm gonna say hello to the people first, Chris. All right, and then we'll get your introduction done, and then we'll move forward with the show tonight. I like to say hello to everybody because they've really been supportive of me, and I like to give them that holler out that they so deserve. So we'll go in alphabetical order, which is usually how I go. Two Stan's fishing. What's going on, Stan? Couple crosses fishing. Hello, Betty. Betty slayed the crappie over the weekend. I'm not going to say how many, but it's an awful lot. We got two old vets fishing in the house. What's going on, two old vets? Buckeye catfishing. We have Clearview Outdoors. What's going on? Creole catfishing. Krusty Fishing, that's a new name. Hello, Krusty, welcome. Thank you for coming in. If you're not sub, please sub. I'd really appreciate it. We got Dan Thompson. What's going on, Dan? How you doing, sir? That's another name. Dan Garchar. What's up, Dave? I'm sorry, Dave Garchar. What's going on, Dave? Sorry about that. Ernie Brown. Fishing Cooking with Mike Chavez. What's going on, Mr. Mike? How you doing? Flat Rock Flatheads. Harley Neal, the voice of Catfish Crazy, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Absolutely.
Hilljack catfishing. Hilljack, great job on covering the tournament this weekend. It was really cool to be able to sit home and be upset about not being there, but then I tune into YouTube and I get to watch it all live through your eyes, which was great. Thank you very much. Jason Lamb's killing it over at Powerton. What's going on, Jason? John Patrick Jr., what's up, sir? Joseph Ledner, that's a new name. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. Please forgive me. Justin's Fishing Fetish. What's going on, Gabby's dad? Laura the Explorer. Saw a bunch of pictures from her from Patriot James tournament this weekend. Mike Irvin, what's going on, Mike? He was the first one in chat tonight. Thanks for checking it out. Mike Lewis, Team Whisker Tickler. What's going on, buddy? Mike Laughlin, what's going on? That's another new name. Mindy Hogan, what's up, Mindy? Moe's Creek Fishing, what's going on, Rob? Palmetto Cat's in the house. Palmetto is fishing with Robbie this week, then I believe Squirrel as well. Saw pictures of that. They looked like they had a great time. I know Robbie had a big smile on his face when he was at the weigh-in. That was cool to see. Mr. Gadget Fishing, what's up? Ryan Bortz, Blue Collar Fishing, the man who is using trolling motor on his kayak. Now, we had a little talk about that. We won't get into it. Sogo, what's up, my friend? Stephen Corley, welcome. Sunfish Assassin, what's up, buddy? Tim Molina, one of the enforcers in the room. Twisted Fishing TV, what's up, bud? Uncle Josh, One Ton Fishing Club. Shout out to all the one-tonners. Uncle Lou, what's up, Uncle Lou? Want to Be Outdoors, Ohio and 42, also known as. Let's see if I missed anybody as they're coming in. Avid Fisherman, what's up, Avid? Buckeye, if I didn't say hello to you, hello. Country Boy Catfishing, Chrissy Brown. Go through this real quick. Hilljack, I said hello. Flat Rock. We have a Keith Smart in the house. That's a new one. Hello, Keith. Welcome. Go through once more time. Mindy Hogan, I said hello. All right, everybody, we're going to get going tonight. Welcome to the Catfish and Crappie podcast. I'm real happy to have as my guest tonight, Chris Souders. How you doing, Chris? Are you mute? I think you're muted, Chris.
There we go. Hey, it would not be a show without some sort of technical difficulty. I told you that the other day. So we had to do it. Just get it out of the way.
It's not a show if I don't screw up somebody's name, and I have probably the hardest name in the chat. So during the show, and I'm the one who ends up messing up somebody's name. Or I forget to say hello to somebody like Betty or Dee or Katie, and then I hear about it after the show quite a bit.
Yeah.
Man, it is an honor to have you on my show. I've been dying to have this ever since I started YouTube, and I was thinking, I can't wait to have guests like Chris on my show, and here we are.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And I mean, how much fun is it to be able to do this freely on a platform and interact with everybody and just talk and share information? I mean, it's such a good time and a wonderful way for friends throughout the country that we meet to come together and just talk about everything we love.
That's I couldn't have said it better myself. I probably couldn't have said it as well as you did, but I agree with you 100%. Where else can I, being stuck at home during these times and stuff, still take part in take part and stay active in the Catfish family, which we have such a really, really good family going on here.
Yeah.
Before we get going, I do want to say thank you to Patriot James for the tournament. He raised, I believe, over $7,000 for veterans. Way to go.
Wow.
I've seen he did really good. I see nothing but awesome, great pictures, lots of smiling faces, lots of fish being caught, and some really happy people. And I'm sure that's not going to stop for quite some time. I'm already thinking I need to make plans for next year. That would be cool to do. Speaking of that, before we get into some of the other stuff I wanted to talk about, tournament fishing. I know, are you still doing tournaments, or is that something that's you're a little too busy for these days?
I wouldn't say I'm too busy for it. I still enjoy them. I just don't, I like to do everything else more than tournament fishing. I've said this a lot. My true passion is to help others learn how to catch fish, so they can go out and make their memories and just have a good time with their families themselves.
Cool. I have the same types of passions. It started with teaching, just my nieces how to fish. I get that from my grandfather, who taught me how to fish, and my uncle, who's his son, taught me how to fish and passed that on. And I'm not fortunate enough to have kids, so I've kind of starting to take a role in teaching, the kids in the neighborhood, as long as their parents are with us. That's kind of a rule of mine, about fishing and stuff. There is in my drive. I let them fish in my bait tank, Chris. They love that, man. You don't know how much they enjoy that. They get the biggest smiles on their faces. I wish I could share that, but that's just another thing I don't do. I don't share any of that information about other people's kids and stuff. We could get into that, but we're not going to. All right, real quick, let me take a step back here. Chris Souders of Slunger Cat Outdoors, on YouTube, and Catfish Crazy on what television network is that on, Chris?
It's on the Pursuit channel.
The Pursuit channel.
And then also you can stream it on the Pursuit app, Roku, Hulu, places like that, the streaming apps for smart TVs, and then also on YouTube as well.
Okay. I'm sure if you Google, I put links to the web channel, to both YouTube pages. I'm sure if you click on those links below, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to both Catfish Crazy and Chris Souders, which is Slunger Cat Outdoor or Slunger Cat YouTube channel. There will be links. I like those colors on that hat, by the way, for the people at home. What colors would you call that? The ones listening on podcasts, is it dark brown and a?
It's kind of like a military sand tan color and black. This is a test color. Catfish Clothing is going to be doing all of my clothing from here on out. They're a huge help. They do wonderful work, and the way that they're going to be able to, help out the whole fishing industry is just amazing. You can now order hats from them, custom made. It's kind of like a build your own hat way of doing things. So if you have a certain color you want or a certain way you want it, you can get on there and they can make it happen for you. But this hat, if you guys like it, let us know in the comments. I can see the comments, but this is kind of like a test run to see if people would like these colors together. If it is something you guys would like to see for sale, just let us know. And we'll get it put on there.
Perfect. Excellent. Yeah. So I was kind of just scanning through the chat. Yeah. So if you're in chat, let us know if you like those colors on Chris's hats, or if you got some requests. I'm sure if he doesn't see them now, he'll go back and he'll check them out. Hey, look at that. We got Keith from Fish and Stuff. What's going on, Keith?
Keith, buddy, that dude is hilarious. If you guys have not watched his last video on how to catch a fish with a joey, that was one of the best videos that I have watched in a long time. Keith, thank you for making that.
My comment on that video is I need to get me a joey. That was my comment.
I need 2 of them.
Good stuff. Let's see what you got going on here. All right, let's go. I see a couple of people want to be outdoors. Just showed up. Catfish Weekly. What's going on, Lyle? Twisted Fishing TV. If I haven't seen you yet or said hello to you yet, Betty, I said hello. I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. That's always a bad thing. So let's go back to the very beginning. What are some of your earliest fishing memories, Chris? What do you hold near and dear to your heart? What brings a smile to your face when you're out on the water thinking about?
Well, to be honest with you, it's man, whenever I have my daughter with me and we go out and we do some bank fishing, it brings back those memories that I had with my grandfather, which got me started doing it. And and then honestly, I remember a lot of times, me and my dad back in the day, we would go out jug fishing. And, I know a lot of people, frown on that. And I do too, depending on how it's done. But, just as a young kid watching that jug bouncing, and grabbing it. And a lot of times we would turn the fish back loose, but it was just, it kept me occupied. But, memories like that, whenever I have my daughter out there fishing, those kind of memories come back to me. And, I just hope and pray that she's getting the same memories instilled into her as well.
I don't doubt that she isn't. So, I mean, it's hard not to get that when it's such an awesome thing to be a part of. So cool. So, and how did you make the transition from fishing when you were a young man to where you are today? What's kind of the build up to where you are?
Well, I know this is kind of cliche, but I wasn't real good in school. I mean, anybody that watches the channel and is around me close know that I can't read real well. I can't spell worth a lick, and things like that. But I wasn't real. Let's say I wasn't the college education style of person. So I was a hard worker, with good work ethic, and I loved the outdoors. Anytime I could get in the outdoors, it didn't matter what it was. That's what I wanted to do. And so I've just always been a fish. I can remember times I had a John boat whenever I wasn't even old enough to drive, and I saved up my money from mowing grass, and I bought this little John boat. And I can't remember how long it was. It wasn't very big. It was like 10 foot long, maybe, and a trolling motor and a battery. And I just thought that was the best thing ever. And I would have my mom take me and drop me off at the lake, and it's crazy to think about it now, but she would drop me off at the lake and I would fish all day by myself. And then she would come back that afternoon. It was a really good babysitter for my mom, but it was a really good time for me because I was, all by myself out there fishing and learning how to fish. So, that's just kind of how I grew up.
This started out with like bass and panfish and stuff like that, or did
you
go
straight to catfish? Well, whenever I was a kid, we'd done a lot of catfishing, because that was kind of like the thing to do. We ate a lot of catfish, but I'd done a lot of bass fishing and crappie fishing, and one of my favorite fish to catch is crappie. I love to catch crappie, and I really enjoy catching crappie. I fish around a lot of the places that Betty and Two Cross Fishing where they fish at. I fish a lot of the same waters, and it's full of crappie, big crappie, and it's a blast.
I wish I had that problem here. We have crappie, just not as many and not as big, but maybe that'll change someday. Yeah, I enjoy chasing them too. It gives me a break from even thinking about eating catfish. It's a lot easier for a crappie population to rebound than a big trophy catfish population. So I kind of use it as that. It's also, I treat it a little different than I do catfish, but I totally get it. So how often do you get out and crappie fish? You still get out and try to put some slabs on deck?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this time of year for me is normally prime crappie fishing. Crappies. I'm not any good at hunting mushrooms, but I got a couple friends that every once in a while feel sorry for me, and they'll take me out and they'll have their daughters point them out to me so that I can pick them and make myself feel better, I guess. But I'll get a mess of crappie and a mess of mushrooms, and then that'll do me for the year. Normally.
That sounds like that's such a good match. If you haven't had that, I can't say enough. I looked for morel mushrooms for a couple years on my own with no luck. Finally, a friend of mine's wife's a big mushroom huntress. She took me out. She had to point out a couple, but once she pointed them out, I kind of got tuned in, and they were in all the places I were looking the past couple of years. They were always there, and they're still there this year. But it's something, and it's also something about knowing that the spawn's happening when them morels to start popping that really kind of gets me excited. So, but that's for another show. We do have SK's Crappie Fishing Adventures in the house. He's a big crappie guy. He's got a real big YouTube channel. So if you guys are listening at home, look up SK's Crappie Catching Adventures. If you want to learn about catching crappie or watch a man really kill it down in Texas, that's the way to do it. So I remember with you're also you did some kayaking last year. Is that something that you plan on continuing this year?
Oh yeah. Yes. I actually went and got another kayak. I got a Jackson Big Rig HD. Just got it finished up this weekend, and I put a trolling motor on the front of it. It's got monster rod holders on it. It's if you guys can guess, I tell you what, this would be a question for the chat. Who can guess what color the new kayak is? That's a good question. I think it's going to be hard for somebody to figure out, but got it all decked out with monster rod holders and Lowrance electronics and Minn Kota Tarova iPilot. I'm ready to roll. I can't wait.
I had a big rig that I just ran out of time to use, so I needed to clear out space in my garage to get my boat to fit, to be honest with you. So we did that, and I talked myself. I love that thing. I talked myself into getting rid of it because I said to myself, "Oh, you're getting too old for a kayak, right?"
Yeah.
So I get a call from a lady who wants to come buy it. She shows up, and it's a 65-year-old lady who bought that big rig from me. So that was kind of like adding salt to injury. So that's just kind of a short story, but I do love those big rigs. Those are pretty big barges, and they're really stable. If I can get in them, we know we can get Lyle Stokes in one and Creole catfishing in one. If those guys don't want anything to do with that or ice fishing.
Yeah, I don't want to do none of the ice fishing. Y'all can keep
ice fishing.
Nah,
I can get you out on some 20, 30, 25 pound, 30 pound channel cats at the ice if you come on up.
Man, that's tempting. That's tempting. It better be thick ice. That's all I want to know. It's got to be thick.
It usually is. That part of the country is usually pretty thick. So, and speaking of that, I do want to bring up that we are still going to Mendota the week of May 13th through the 16th. So if you're interested, just hit one of us up or just look it up on Facebook. You'll find a Mendota trip there. So it's coming soon. Make sure you get your fishing license and all that stuff. We posted links on both the page and the actual event page. So check that out, kids. Kids. I'm calling them kids now, like I'm the old man in the room. I'm going to get a lot of trouble for that. All right, Chris. So let's talk a little bit about the TV show. This is season 2, correct? I think I watched episode 3 last night, and number 4 is coming out tomorrow. Am I mistaken? Yeah,
episode 4. We'll be back on the High River down in Metropolis, Illinois. Be solo on this one, doing some back drifting with planer boards and some current for big old blue cats. It's a technique that is not used enough, and I would highly, highly recommend people watch the show, go out and try it, and really put it to use because it can be deadly, deadly, deadly for big blue cats.
I'm just kind of looking at some chat. It looks like we got a troll in the chat. This Chivalry Frog, if somebody could please take care of them, I'd appreciate it. I have no idea who that person is. What's the filming schedule look like for a TV show?
So I was trying to read that comment whenever you named him. I was trying to figure out how to get it off there. Now, what was that question again?
What's the filming schedule look like? There we go. Thank you very much, guys. What's the filming schedule look like when you're doing a TV show? You film them in a short period of time, don't you? Or is that something?
Yeah. We try to get them done in one day. If you can imagine that's a lot of work. It's very stressful. We've been doing 2 days, just because you can kind of get a little bit more material in 2 days, but preferably one day, just so everything looks the same. Conditions don't really change, but a lot of the shows we've had to use 2 days.
Okay.
But it's basically, the one of the worst things about it is you lose that first light time in the morning and that last light in the afternoon. The best times of the day to be fishing, you lose that. So you can't film in those in those time frames because of light issues, which it just, it pains me, but unfortunately that's one of the things you got to work around, and it's a challenge, which I enjoy. But it's definitely a challenge, especially in the summertime when that hot water comes up and those fish really come to life at nighttime, or those two time periods in the beginning of the day and the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it real challenging to be able to put quality fish in the boat and make them count.
Lighting's really important when you're doing any kind of filming. And I didn't even realize that until I tried filming my little YouTube channel stuff myself. I can only imagine what it's like filming, TV quality. Well, trying to create a TV quality production, and that makes a lot of sense. And I imagine that you get a lot of B-roll at night and in the morning though, don't you?
No, everything, when we first take off, we'll take it slow and get some B-roll of the morning. Cause a lot of times that's whenever you see a lot of stuff, a lot of the birds and just the fog lifting and animals coming to life, a lot of activity, but we don't even normally stop fishing or start filming on the water until a half hour or hour after daylight,
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be really good light before we can even start.
I take advantage of that time, kind of trolling around trying to find the fish with the sonar, I imagine.
Well, we do. I do everything I could possibly do. It's one of those things. You got to take advantage of every second you can to be able to make it work and get it done.
I bring that up because when I think about like people that I reference when I'm talking or using my sonar, it has a lot to do with the stuff that I've learned from you on your YouTube channel and the videos that you've shared. So you got any tips or well, actually we'll send them to your channel to say that, but to go check it out. But how did you get so versed in using you were a Lowrance guy? I know you just got a Hummingbird, if I'm not mistaken.
So I am not a one specific electronics. I'm not sponsored or promoted by any electronics company. I have used Lowrance, Garmin, and Hummingbird, all three. Love them all. They all have their own unique special features that I really like. And for the longest time, and still even on the Dynasty that I just totaled here a while back, I ran two sonars, a Hummingbird and a Lowrance, to be able to get the best of both worlds. Because depending on where you're at in the country, some features are better than the others depending on which one it is. And, I'm able to run both at the same time if I need to be. And, it's just some tweaking you got to do to be able to get them to not interfere with each other. But one feature over the other can make a big difference on whether you see a transition between mud and pea gravel, or say rubble rock and sand. Little transition things like that, depending on the time of year, on whether those fish want to be cool, warm, how comfortable they want to be, would make a big difference on where you need to set up on a ledge or a flat and find those fish.
You had mentioned the word, or you had mentioned that how comfortable they want to be. That's a big part in being consistent, is figuring out those types of things. Am I mistaken?
Yeah.
Or
No, you're absolutely right. This time of year, they want to be comfortable. We all want to be comfortable, but let's take flatheads for instance. This time of year, their objective is not necessarily first to be comfortable, but is to start feeding and to start getting ready to do their spawning period.
Mm-hmm.
So their comfort, their ability to endure a little less comfort to do their natural reproduction, it kind of goes the other way.
That's I imagine that's hormone driven. I'm no biologist, but we know what it does to the rut with deer. I imagine flathead and blue cat are exactly the same. So something's got to fuel them to eat and to go and reproduce. I guess I'm thinking I probably got a good guess at that. So yes, I was talking to a couple other anglers that I really admire. And we were talking that, they've got to eat, they want to reproduce, and they want to be comfortable. Those are good places to start. And I'm trying to segue into consistency. How do you use stuff like that? What other information's good to help you stay consistent in being able to catch these big fish? What do you rely on besides your sonar? I'm looking for a thought process, I guess.
So it really comes down to time of year. There's a lot of variables that come into play. The body of water that you're on, whether it be river or lake, and then the time of year, the species of fish that you want to go after, and kind of what is in their process, what just happened, what is getting ready to happen, and where they're at in their life cycle per se. So, right now we're coming into spawn, or we're coming into spring. They're going to be feeding and they're getting ready for spawn. And then just like any of us, if we went out and we ran, well, let's be honest, I'm not running. But if I tried to run and I got done with, let's say, a half mile of trying to run, I'm going to need to rest. And so after they get done spawning and they go to rest, then that comfort comes more into play, and that they're comfortable, they rest up, they start feeding up, and then you got to look at that throughout the rest of the year of what is going on or what is getting ready to happen. And then that water temperature and weather conditions really start coming into play then. If it's hot water, just like you and I, if it's super hot outside, I'm going inside where the air conditioning is. Well, just a few degrees can make a huge difference. Just like now, that water temperature is warming up. The water in the creeks is a little bit warmer. Water on flats is a little bit warmer. So those fish will congregate towards those areas. And just like that in the summertime, they will congregate where that water temperature might be a degree or two cooler, as long as it's got good oxygen and everything they need to survive.
I can't tell you how many times one degree of water temperature has made a difference in my success as far as catching fish. It was really something that I kind of stumbled upon myself. I never read anything about it or anything. So I totally and wholeheartedly have lived that. So if anybody out there is listening, look for those temperatures. That's another reason to have electronics in the boat. Most definitely. Yeah. And you had mentioned post spawn. Post spawn is that what you consider they're getting a little lazier after post spawn?
Yep.
Yep. So they're looking to eat at certain time of the days and rest the rest of it.
Yeah. You'll have peak times, where they will feed more aggressively. A catfish is an opportunist, but they will definitely pass on something as well. And, in the summertime after the spawn and they're resting up, for instance, blue cats, we talk about them in this, they go to some of the deepest parts of the lake or body of water that you're on. And for me, we're talking about the higher river. In tomorrow's show, you'll see it. It was post spawn blue cats, and we had some current, and those fish were in a deep flat channel. And they was in mud, and we really wasn't marking fish. But as we drifted and we had those baits away from the boat, it made a big difference to get those baits away from the boat. We were catching a lot of fish scattered. We wouldn't catch, one or two on the same side real back to back. They would just be spotted and all the way down through that big, deep, long flat.
And what kind of spread are you talking about?
Probably, I don't know. I was using 6 rods, 4 planer boards, and then 2 straight down. So, it was out there. I would say, 75 foot apart, 100 foot apart, then there's probably back. The planer boards yourself was probably, 100 foot from the boat, and then spread out however far that would have been.
And another thing, wait, hold on a second. Betty has a question. I wanted to catch that before it rolled off the screen. I don't want to miss one of Betty's questions. She's a tip for first time chasing flathead in the, how do you say that? Kanawha?
Kanawha.
Kanawha. Is that a river out by you guys?
Yeah. It's a river that joins the Ohio River here in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, Gallipolis, Ohio area.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real good early season flathead river. It's smaller, but it's just structure oriented. It's flatheads, fine structure and fish it. Don't worry about that river. You can catch big fish shallow and you can catch big fish deeper, but it doesn't have real deep water in it. But definitely, heavy structure. It's got a lot of wood, a lot of rock, a lot of things like that. Just fine structure and start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. If you're catching them on wood or rock, 15 foot, 30 foot, things like that. Start out with one thing and then just start, chipping away at it until you figure it out. Hey, they want to be in 15 foot on wood, or they want to be in 5 foot on a tree that's hanging off the side of the bank, whatever it may be.
It always amazes me how people who fish in more not productive but better trophy waters are able to get those patterns figured out and such. Here it's ones and twos. As far as flatheads go, we don't have blues out here, so I always get a kick out of hearing how you guys figure that stuff out. And those shallow rivers, that's my kind of fishing too. So I'll be happy to meet you out there, Betty. We'll get them figured out. I gotta head out that way. So do you call them shovelhead or flathead, Chris?
Both. Really. I mean, flatheads, shovelheads. I even hear some people out here call them mudcats.
Mudcats, yellow cats. I've heard
yellow
them
cats. Yeah.
We got them all. We kind of rib each other and chat about the names and stuff. So that's where that comes out. That was a little shout out to Betty and Chad and all of them guys. So I see we got Hilljack Catfishing. He came in the house. Let's see who else. Maurice Kaysen. Maurice is a huge supporter of all the channels. He's in like all of them. J Dog's gone fishing. He's in the house too. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for checking out this show. All right. So I know you were on Mike Greenwell's show, and one of the things I also wanted to talk about was log keeping and how important it is, and how to use them, what kind of information to keep in them. I know that's a lot to get into, but where do you suggest that people start, and where do they go from there?
Just, I mean, we all heard it as kids in school, and that was, taking notes. As your teacher was writing stuff down on the chalkboard, just write it down. I guess now that I say it, one way to look at it is your day is the chalkboard, and as you work through your day, just keep notes of every detail that you possibly can. Now, with today's technology, you don't have to do it so much on paper as you can on waypoints. For instance, if I put a waypoint in on my Sonar now, there are logos that go with it, whether it be a fish, a tree, a rock, whatever it may be. I'll give you guys an example. If I go across the spot and I look at it and I think, holy smokes, that right there is an amazing spot. It's just a ginormous tree or a huge rock pile or something specific about it. I will put a specific logo. I use a star. And then on that star, in the description, I will put my notes, the depth of it, what, if I fished it, what I caught off of it, the time of year, all that stuff is already logged in there for you, pre-done. The time of year and the time of day that you was on it, that sort of stuff. So if you use your sonars and the information, the ability to put the information in there, then that kind of will save you from doing the paper logs. But don't ever shy away from not doing anything. Either if you don't have that ability to put it on in your sonar or on some sort of laptop or tablet or something like that, put it on paper and just take care of it. And you'll be able to go back to those notes for years and years and years to come.
And you're finding out that they repeat themselves years after year, correct?
Absolutely. Well, so what I have found out is that what happened last year will definitely not happen this year, but will more than likely happen 4 or 5 years from now.
Hmm.
So the stuff that happened whenever I was first, getting into catfishing and really taking notes, that stuff come back and repeated itself. And then it's just starting to slowly repeat itself. And uh, I, I can't remember who I was talking to about it. It might've been Harley that's in chat. We talked, was talking about it. And last summer we had a huge bait, supply. I mean, it was just overran. And I talked about how the last time that we had a huge bait hatch with shad, we had a bad winter and it ended up killing a bunch of it. Well, I don't know how much it ended up killing this year, but this year we had another seasonably cold year around here. So it's kind of, it didn't happen exactly like it did that year because that year the river actually froze over, but it did get seasonably cold again this year and we've had a significant amount of bait die. I don't know exactly how much, but you see that platform come back around and show itself again.
So do you think it's just that dent in the bait population, or is it the winter kill that they're gorging themselves on to have more of an effect? What do you think it is?
Um, on what do you mean?
Well, I always had this opinion back before I really started getting into catfish that if there's a big winter kill, which we get around here, being we get a lot more ice and stuff, that they'll gorge themselves. The first couple of fish you catch in after ice out, they're fat as heck. So I'm under the opinion that they're actually gorging themselves on all the dead bait fish that's out there. And then I also was wondering, well, what did that do to the population when a lot of it had died off when it comes to them reproducing for the next year? I'm just kind of trying to piece it all together as far as like those 5-year cycles, comparing like rabbit populations. We can get into that too. That's a 7-year cycle for those. I imagine catfish being the same way, as well as bait fish and so on. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but I guess the original question is, do you think it's them dying that has more of an effect on, well, the reproduction rate of the bait fish that had a huge winter kill, or do you think it's the fish actually feeding on the winter kill that's causing a change in their patterns?
The first part of that question, I definitely think that the huge amount of fish kill makes it easy for those fish to gorge themselves. Coming out of winter, if you're hungry and you got an easy meal that is relatively fresh because it's been immersed in 30, 32 degree water, for a long period of time, it's still going to be fresh. But I think that makes them gorge themselves. Then I think throughout that year, if you know how to catch bait, which is probably, the number one thing when it comes to catfishing, catching bait and having quality bait on a year like this year where we had a shad kill, or if you have a big bait kill or shad kill, then the fishing that year can be even better because there's not as much bait and the fish have to, fight harder or, to be able to catch that bait. So fishing can actually be better this entire year, like it was then. And the year that I'm talking about, we had a massive shad kill, and you couldn't hardly catch bait. You had to really scrounge to be able to catch bait. But when you had good fresh bait, the fishing was phenomenal, but it was hard to get that. Now back to the other part of it is, I think that a lot of people that are watching this know that I'm very faith based, and I think that the world, the species, animals, God's creations, they have a way of equalizing themselves out. As humans, we try to do what we think is right. by stocking programs, taking things out of here, putting things there. And in a sense, I kind of feel like, there's ways that they'll take care of themselves if we give it a chance and let them try, So I think that is kind of the world's way of just kind of getting things back to an equilibrium of what needs to be done.
I think we're the only cogs in the wheels of that whole plan as far as nature goes, because we're able to do things to control not our destiny, but our wellness, so much to say. Real quick, Keith has a question here. Keith wants to know from Fishing and Stuff. Do you know what it says, do you know what you're filming when you go out to do an episode? And is it scripted or is it done from the hip, so to say?
Buddy, I let her fly. No, what I kind of do, it's kind of like with my YouTube channel. If I have a specific thing that I want to teach on, say I want to, talk about a hook specifically, then I may script it out. So I know, what needs to happen and how it needs to happen. But whenever it comes to the shows, I will, we'll get the guest, figure out where we're going to be fishing, what we're going to be fishing for, and how we're going to be fishing. And then I will study the area that we're fishing, and kind of get some, kind of like you're doing, Mark, with getting some questions set up in my mind and on paper to talk about and share information as we go through the day. It's definitely a big learning curve for me. I could definitely, Keith, if you got some tips, buddy, I'd be more than willing and happy to hear them, because I would love to learn how to do it even better than what we're doing. But to answer that question, I do script it a little bit, but not so much. We just kind of let it fly from the hip, because you don't really know what you're going to catch or how you're going to catch it. Things change throughout the day, how you're going to catch them. So a little bit by the hip, a little bit by the script.
That's what the editing software is all about, right?
Yeah. Well, one of my biggest things is I don't want the show to be fake.
Absolutely.
I want it to be real. I want people to see, there's shows where we don't catch, big fish all the time. There's shows where we struggle a little bit, but we still share some quality information. And I want that to be showed, because I think so much, is based on the size of fish that people catch. Yes, everybody wants to see big fish being caught, but the truth of it is, not everybody lives in an area that produces 100-pound fish. Not everybody lives in an area that produces 50-pound fish. So those 5, 10, 15-pound fish to a lot of people are fish of a lifetime, and they should love it and rejoice in it and just kind of and be super proud of themselves for being able to catch a fish like that, because in all honesty, that is a really good fish.
You had a hook in your hand. You want to tell? That looked like an awfully big version of the hooks that you're usually using. That caught my eye. I don't think I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
What you got there, Chris?
So the team at TTI Blakemore, which you guys know, I love I say Diachi. They correct me, and it's Diachi. So I've always been a big fan of the D85s, which is my go-to hook. Everybody, I love them. I wouldn't be caught on the water without them. But they have decided to come up with a new brand of fishing gear. And one of the first things they're going to start with is the hooks. So, you guys know, this is the normal Diachi D85, but it is now called a Boss Cat. Okay. Well, everybody was wanting a bigger hook. We heard that a lot. Everybody thought that this 7/0, 8/0 size hook was too small, which is, I love this hook. But they listened and they come out with what is now the 10/0. So you can see the red inside of it. If it's inside of the 10-aught, and that is called a Boss Cat. And same hook, same trusty company, and just a different brand name. And I'll be happy. That's what I'll be using now. I'm going to try these 10-aughts out and see how I like them.
And
Hopefully,
I know you've been using those hooks for a long time. I remember like one of the first videos I've seen you on was on a Steve Douglas video where you were showing how to tie rigs with those hooks on the back of his boat. So every time I hear that name, I think of Chris Souders. Every time. I'm not even kidding you.
You know, that video specifically, a lot of people, they talk about how they feel like, this hook, which is a 7, is too small. They feel and they wanted this 10-aught hook, which I think is going to be a good thing for big blue cats, Tennessee River, Mississippi River, James River, those kind of things. It's got those real big, fat, lower jaws. But this is a 5-aught hook, okay? And this is the hook that I was fishing with specifically with Steve Douglas that day. And I couldn't count on my hands and toes and feet and limbs how many fish over 30 or 40 pounds that these 5-aught hooks have brought in the boat.
My personal best flathead, which was just under 58 pounds, came on a 5-aught hook. So big hooks are good for big baits for me. I kind of match the size of the hooks to the baits and the waters I'm fishing. But if I'm going after those 100-pound blues someday, I'm getting me some of those 10-aughts you just showed off right there.
Yeah, those 10-aught Boss Cats and the D85 Diachis are going to be called Boss Cats as well.
Okay.
And as well as so it's just a new brand that they're coming out with.
It's the
same hook, same exact hook. That's one thing for sure. If it wasn't, I don't know that I could do anything without that hook right there.
Real quick, JP3 has a question. Chris, I fish near the Racine Dam. Is there a way to get in touch with you and try to fish together?
JP3, yes, absolutely. I fish around Galplis area. One thing that I was doing right before I ended up wrecking the boat, I still have a list of YouTubers that were in the area or people that wanted to, kind of go out and fish. What I was doing was doing tackle talks on the water. I was able to get a few of them out there to kind of help guys that had smaller channels or even bigger channels. Whoever wanted to go out fishing, we would go out on the water and spend the afternoon together and try to catch some fish and teach you guys something. But yeah, get a hold of me, send me a message. Whatever you might have in mind. I'm kind of in between boats right now, so I can't really do anything right now with everything else I got going on. But yeah, just give me a shout.
Betty wants to know if your merch is available through Catfish Clothing yet, or how can she purchase them, or how can we purchase them?
Betty, so it's coming really, really soon. We're working out the details right now. We kind of got everything on hold on the slungercat.fish website, which is where you was able to buy it before. And that is where we will be sending everybody from then. But whenever you order something, the order will go straight to Catfish Clothing. They are a great company, as you guys know, and something for everybody watching right now. They have given me a discount code of Slunger Cat 20, and that gives you guys 20% off. Get over there and order whatever you guys want, not just the clothing, but they got cutting boards and rod holder mounts and just a bunch of different stuff that they're building their brand. So you can get 20% off that if you guys go over there and put in Slunger Cat 20.
You heard that, folks. So Slunger Cat 20 over at Catfish Clothing, get you 20% off. Thanks for sharing that with everybody in there. And Betty wants pink. I bet you there's some pink stuff on the site, Betty. You might want to check that out.
Pink is definitely going to be coming. So
yeah. got some pink stuff. And if you're looking for merch in the meantime, my link to my merch is in my description. If you guys want to check it out, it helps support the show big time. All the proceeds go directly back into the show. And for the people that already made purchases, thank you very much. We're going to print, orders will take it until May 4th. Once all the orders are in, we'll get them printed to order and get them shipped out. So thank you everybody for ordering who already has. I wanted to talk about the boat. I wanted to talk about a bunch of other stuff. We're getting close to that 1 hour mark, Chris. And I know you got to work early in the morning.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say before we let the people go off on their merry way?
I mean, if you got any more questions, we can let's
talk about your boat. I want to hear about that dynasty that you had that I almost cried, and I don't cry too often. When I saw those posts of that boat, I was pretty devastated myself.
Yeah.
And it did make it into a couple episodes. So if you guys are really interested about that boat, check out some of the episodes on Catfish Crazy. You'll be able to see it there, most definitely. But what happened with that? Everybody's all right. That's my first question, correct?
Yeah, everybody walked away from it, unharmed. I was actually headed to work one morning and was getting ready to film a show here on the high river, and just ended up in an accident. Ended up as everybody kind of teases me and says I was trying to catch fish in a ditch that didn't have no water in it, and but it thankfully nobody got hurt. The boat did get totaled, but Sea Arc, being the great company that they are, they're working diligently trying to get another boat put together for me. I'm actually going to be the new boat I'm going to get is the Prodigy. Okay. And I'm really excited about this boat. I'm actually going to have, I'm actually going to be blessed enough to have two boats. I'm going to end up getting the Dynasty back and fixing it from the insurance company. And then, I'll be running the Prodigy from Sea Arc. And I'm really excited about this because, the Dynasty it is the top of the line. I mean, when you talk about a river boat, it is just an absolutely tank of a boat. It's you feel safe. It's higher sides, lots of storage, just an absolutely fishing machine. And then the Prodigy, which is it's a 20-foot boat. It's kind of like a back to the basics style of boat, kind of what I started in. And I'm excited about fishing in it because it is super easy to get around in. Super easy to pull. You still got a 200 horse motor on it. You can still put pods on it. It's got a 50-gallon fuel tank on it, to where a ProCat 200 only has like a 28 or a 30-gallon. So still the walk-through ProCat style windshields. Still put the biminis on it, the closures, all that good stuff. But it's just like an open plan to kind of be able to get the price down to a better price point for a lot of folks. And it's a boat that I'm really excited about putting out there and letting people see, because I think it's going to be a really good boat for a lot of people that want to try Sea Arc and just get out there throughout the country and fish.
Both those boats have great layouts for catfishing as far as I'm concerned. The interiors of them really lend themselves to helping you be productive out on the water when it comes to that. So cool. I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. Nah. So Harley Neal says he got to ride on a boat before you tore it up. Lucky guy. Yeah. There's an acquaintance of mine. He's we're acquaintances. He just picked up one of those Dynasties here on the Fox. I'm looking forward to seeing him out there in it. Maybe I can pester him and go for a ride or something. So we'll see. We have a new viewer, Freddie Beck. Dragging, anchoring, or drifting, which method do you prefer for chasing big cats?
That's a good question. And a lot of that would depend on, the fish, whether it's a flathead channel or blue cat. And then once again, whether you're fishing lakes, rivers, the kind of body, current, no current style fishing. If there is current, and I am fishing for flatheads, it is anchored. If there is no current, let's back this up. If the water temperature is 60 or above and I am in blue cat territory, I am moving in some way, shape, or form. I'd rather be bumping, drifting, or dragging. Bumping or drifting if there's current. If there's no current, I'm dragging.
Yeah, current is so important in catfish, and I'm sure everybody in chat knows about it. I mean, I've learned the hard way that if I'm fishing in water with no current from the bank or anchored up, it's not very productive.
Yeah.
Do you feel that dragging those baits helps get the scent out as well as finds the cats too?
I don't. I mean, yes, it's going to lay down a scent trail.
Mm-hmm.
For those fish to, as they're roaming, they'll catch onto it and then come up to the bait. But you know, in a lot of instances, I don't think it's as much as laying down that scent as it is just covering water and finding those fish that are active. I think that I had a little bit of time to play around with live scope this past year, and the amount of fish that we've seen that didn't bite, just it blew my mind.
It's surprising, isn't it?
Yeah. So covering that water and just finding those fish that want to eat is the biggest thing in my my book. With live scope, and I'll say this 100%. If I was a tournament fisherman, I would have live scope. If I was a tournament director, I would ban live scope. I can't wait to get my hands on one and start using it on a regular basis.
Just hearing you talk about it not only makes me want them even more, which I really do want live scope, but that's just another like data point for your logs. I saw, a huge amount of fish. They weren't biting under these conditions, stuff like that.
Yep,
that's the way
absolutely.
that's the way I look at that kind of stuff. So, hopefully they won't. Well, I don't tournament fish, so hopefully I can get one. Let them guys worry the rest of it. Figure the rest of that out. All right, we're over 9:00. Any closing remarks?
Yeah, well, I mean, thanks for having me on here, man. It's been fun. It's been an absolute blessing to be on here and share some information with everybody. And I can't thank you enough for giving me the opportunity to come on here and share this information.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity and giving me your time. I really appreciate it. I've been definitely blessed by crossing paths with a lot of cool people doing this, and that's one of my main reasons for doing it. Not only on screen, but all the people in chat. They're all awesome. I really appreciate it. So tomorrow, 1:00 on Pursuit is when your new episode premieres, right?
Yeah, 1:00 on Pursuit, and then 5:00 on YouTube.
5:00 on YouTube, and that's the Catfish Crazy YouTube channel. That link is in the description. And you might be bringing back Tackle Tuesday, correct? Or Tackle whatever day. We talked a little of that on the Chris Souders channel. Link in description. Check that out. You want to holler out to any of your sponsors besides? Daihachi. Did I say that right? Daiichi.
Daihachi. It's a shame that as much as I love these hooks, I cannot pronounce that. And
try saying Przybysz for me just once.
Oh goodness, but yeah, I mean, I couldn't do. First off, everything that I get to do, all the information I get to share with you guys, God has put me here to do His work and to show people what He has done in my life. He has taken me from the ditches to anything and everything I could ever want, to having a beautiful wife and two beautiful children that I truly don't deserve, but God has blessed me more than I can say. And trust me when I say that if you put faith in Him, and He can solve all your problems, He can take away all your stress. There's no reason to worry. Put it on God's shoulders. Pray, talk to Him, share what you're feeling with Him, and trust whenever I say that He'll take care of it. There's been many a times whenever my wife would be going through cancer, and we would get for instance, she had liver cancer, and there was a treatment that she was going to have, and there was no way we could pay for it. We paid 1 month, and we had no idea how we was going to be able to afford this. We was, young and trying to, just stay afloat, and we prayed about it, and God took care of it. Not only did he take care of it, but the way he took care of it was the next month we went in there, she got that shot that we could not afford, and the doctor put her in a scanner, and cancer was gone off her liver completely, just disappeared in the wind. Just and the man, I am able to sit here and talk not because of what my confidence level is. It's because God gives me the ability to do it. Whenever I was in school, I couldn't stand up and read in front of my class. I couldn't stand up and talk to somebody I didn't know. But yet now I can stand at a seminar in front of hundreds of people and talk about everything that I want to talk about and share all kinds of information. And I do that through the faith that, Jesus died on the cross for my sins and what he does for me and what I know he can do for you if you just put your trust and faith in him. But yeah, sponsors, that absolutely support me in everything we do. My wife and I are very blessed to have, Sea Arc Boats, Suzuki, Marine Master, Daiichi, Slime Line, Catfish Clothing, Smooth Moves, Phytech Cast Nets, Extreme Bait Tanks, Hurricane Anchors, Tackle Bandit, Demon Dragons, Dirty South Dragon Weights. And I know I'm leaving somebody out, and if I am, I greatly apologize for it. But I can't thank them enough for what they give me.
I'll tell you what, if you did forget even one, you're welcome to come back on the show, and we'll get it the next time. What do you think, Chris?
That works for me, buddy. Works for me. And not to ramble on here, but if there's anybody out there, I always like to say this, if there's somebody out there that wants to talk to me, needs me to pray for them, wants to get something off their chest that maybe they don't want to share with their family, know that if you tell me and trust, I won't say nothing to nobody, and we will pray about it, and I'll help you the best way I can.
Very cool. Well, thank you again for your time. I want to thank everybody out in chat. I want to thank everybody for support. Again, thanks to everybody who purchased the merch. Links in the description. Got to do the YouTube thing, Chris. Thank you to everybody.
I seen one pop up here. Steve Douglas, Monster Rod Holders. I can't forget.
Oh, there we go. We'll put that one up on the screen. And the offshore planers, right?
Yep. Offshore planer boards.
Come on, guys. I'm trying to get them back on the show in a couple of months. Come on. We'll wrap up the season. All right, guys. Everybody listen at home on podcast. I appreciate you downloading. If you could subscribe to the podcast, that'd be cool. If you're watching the show here on YouTube and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Before you leave, hit the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Chris's links are in the description. Thank you so much, Chris.